And welcome everyone to week 2 of Sports Spectrum's weekly slant. I am Jason Romano. We're so glad to have you here today, checking us out on Sports Spectrum's weekly slant. It's our new football show, and we've been doing this now for 2 weeks. Last week, we're so grateful to have Brock Heward from Fox Sports as our host in our inaugural show, and we had an amazing guest, Clyde Christensen from the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's their quarterback coach. I hope you got a chance to tune in to that show. That was incredible talking to Clyde just a day or two before they were getting ready to do battle against the Dallas Cowboys. And as you already know, they came out victorious. They won by a couple points on a last-second field goal, and it got the NFL season off to a awesome start. And I think Sports Spectrum's weekly slant got off to an awesome start as well. And I'm so excited about this show and having you guys tune in each week. A very unique football show, right? There's a lot of football shows out there. There's a lot of shows about faith that are out there, but I can't find another show that mixes football and Jesus together. And that's what we do here at Sports Spectrum, and that's what we're doing here with Sports Spectrum's weekly slant. And we have a great guest today for you on the show, a Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback that I'll tell you about in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about this exclusive deal for only you watching right here on Sports Spectrum's weekly slant. And it's for our Sports Spectrum magazine. And right now you can get the magazine, and I love our magazine. Here's our latest issue with Dabo Swinney on the cover from Clemson. You got the big poster behind me over my left shoulder. And I love this magazine. I think this football magazine might be the best magazine we've ever done since I've been a part of Sports Spectrum. It's got exclusive content in there that you cannot find anywhere else. And this magazine is an amazing resource for you to share the gospel with someone. So we want to invite you to subscribe and be a part of Sports Spectrum's magazine right now with an exclusive offer, 20% off a 1-year or 2-year subscription, 20% off. That discount has not been made available for any other outlet at any other point until right here on Sports Spectrum's weekly slant. 20% off Sports Spectrum's magazine. You can go check it out at sportspectrum.com right now and subscribe. 20% off. Here's how you get it. You use the code SLANT20, the number 20, SLANT20. Put that code in when you sign up for Sports Spectrum's magazine, and you get 20% off a 1-year or a 2-year subscription. You can do that right now. Go to sportspectrum.com, click that magazine icon at the top, and you're good to go. Put in that code SLANT20, and you are ready to receive the Sports Spectrum magazine. A great resource, as I said, to read amazing stories, but also share the gospel with someone else. Introduce someone to Jesus who might already love football or love sports. Subscribe today at sportspectrum.com. All right, we got a great guest for you. We taped this a couple days ago with Pro Football Hall of Famer Jim Kelly, the legendary Buffalo Bills quarterback. He took the Bills to 4 straight Super Bowls. I still think it's the greatest accomplishment by a quarterback in NFL history. You might say, well, they didn't win any of those Super Bowls. Do you know how hard it is to get to 4 straight Super Bowls? It's really difficult, and Jim Kelly did that 4 straight times with the Buffalo Bills in the 1990s. He's a Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback. He was inducted in 2002. He's got a wonderful family, his wife Jill, his 2 daughters Erin and Cameron, and of course his son Hunter, who passed away back in 2005. Jim is carrying that legacy for his son Hunter. And he's going to join us today to talk about his battle with cancer and the importance of sharing your cancer story. We're going to talk some Buffalo Bills as well. And even though they lost their first game, a heartbreaker to the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are still one of those teams that people are looking at and saying they are a Super Bowl contender. And so Bills fans are excited right now for this season, but also this time frame with Josh Allen at the quarterback position and all of the great talent that they have around him with the Bills. And Jim Kelly is going to talk about all of that right now, today, here on Sports Spectrum's weekly slant. Take a watch, take a listen. You're going to enjoy this conversation. I know you are, with Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly, Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback, is our guest today on the show. Hey, Jim, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's start with 2021. Football is back. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I can see you wearing your Bills hat as well. The expectations for your Buffalo Bills maybe as high as they've ever been since your Super Bowl teams of the 90s. I have to imagine you are excited about this year's team.
Oh, without a doubt. I think everybody is. I mean, even when you check whether it's ESPN or whatever state, NFL Network, everybody's picking the Bills to be right there at the end. As far as maybe a matchup between Kansas City Chiefs again. But as long as we're in the conversation, that's good. And I'm speaking from a former player, not a player that's playing today, because you don't want to hear that stuff. You just want to try to dial everything else out and focus on what you got at hand. And I know that's an old cliche, but as a player, you want to focus on what's in front of you and not what's coming down the road. So for the Bills fans and for former Bills, and I'm sure over in that locker room, they're really excited.
What makes Bills Mafia so unique and so special?
They never have ever given up on their team, whether it's these last 20 years that we haven't been to a playoff game. We still pack the stadium. They're still there. Never ever have given up, and they fight. I mean, look what they do now. I mean, back in my day, they weren't jumping on tables and breaking bones and all that. Yeah, probably a few fights here and there, but what team doesn't do that? But back when, my days, it was not called Bills Mafia. It was just a Bills fan. And now I think they take it to heart that they love being recognized as a mafia group. And I liked it too. I think everybody is grabbing a hold of it and taking it and loving every minute of it. So hopefully we will, I'm still part of the Bills organization, we can give these fans something to cheer about, because I have two daughters, one 26 and one 22, that have never watched in person a playoff game here in Buffalo. I want teams to be able to come here in January and really get what Buffalo Bills football is all about.
Well, as a kid who graduated high school in 1991, that was the prime years of you doing your thing with Buffalo, and those fans were insane watching you win all of those AFC championship games, Jim Kelly. I feel like you and a guy like Troy Aikman, Dan Marino, John Elway, all amazing, obviously Hall of Fame quarterbacks, you would have put up ridiculous numbers in this era of football. How do you think you would have fared in today's NFL?
Well, I probably would have played maybe 3 or 4 more years. With the way they are protecting quarterbacks and receivers, I love it. And I know there's a lot of defensive linemen that don't like it, but there's a lot of coaches that do like it. And if you talk to any fan out there, if they say that they don't like, you need to hit the quarterback, let me see what they would say if that happened to their quarterback. They wouldn't like it. So I think they're doing the right thing by protecting them. But, the numbers that we would have had would have been a lot better. I mean, the system that we ran, I've always been blessed because I had a Hall of Fame running back in my backfield named Thurman Thomas. Nowadays, it's really based a lot on the passing game and not so much on the running game, even though you do need that running game for a little balance. But boy, I'll tell you what, I would have loved to be able to play in this type, especially on the turf that they have now. And Jason, and the turf that we used to play on, it was, you put concrete down and you throw some AstroTurf over top of it. There was no padding. So all those concussions that we had, and you probably remember this, it's like, okay, you come to the side, you got dinged or you got buried in the turf, and they would say, how many fingers do I have up? Where are you playing? Who are you playing? If you can answer those 3 questions, you're good to go. So that's happened a few times for me.
Absolutely. Jim Kelly is our guest here on the show. Your journey saw you play 11 years in Buffalo. We are the intersection of sports and faith. That's what we do here at Sports Spectrum. And it wasn't until you retired that your faith became really important to you. I know that because I remember you telling me the story when we were at ESPN together with your daughter, Erin. She had written a book and we spent some time together there when I was working there. I'm just wondering if you could share with our audience how your faith in the Lord started and has progressed now 2 decades later.
Well, this is a long story, and I'll try to keep it as short as I can. But the bottom line is, it took me a little while to believe in what the good Lord had in front of me. And really, look at my life. My talk when I speak across the country is called "A Journey of Perseverance." And from blowing my shoulder out in college, telling me I would never play again when I was up for the Heisman Trophy, going to 4 Super Bowls in a row and not winning any of them. And of course, having a son born on my birthday, Valentine's Day, when I had all those dreams of, him following my footsteps, him, me, coaching him and having a football camp and all those great things. 12, I guess 14 months into his life, he was diagnosed with a fatal disease called Krabbe leukodystrophy. And he passed away at the age of 8.5 years old. And through those years, I was always wondering why God would do so much to one individual. But you know what? It didn't take me very long to realize that God had a plan for me, and that was to be able to share what I've been through to others that may be looking to give up, to not persevere through tough times, whether it's with your marriage, whether it's with your life, your health, whatever the case may be. So I've been really blessed to have a beautiful wife who came to the Lord a long, long time before I did. And I probably can honestly say I would not be here today if it wasn't for the prayers of so many people out there. And my saying, Jason, is make a difference today for someone fighting for their tomorrow. And it makes so much sense. And that's why I try to urge people that, there's always somebody out there that has a lot worse for you to do. What can you do to make their life better? And so I thank the good Lord for each and every day that I'm here. And, we all have struggles, and especially in today's world, everybody's struggling. So for me, I just have to keep my faith.
When you were first diagnosed with cancer, I think it was 2013, it was such a public battle, and has been because you're a public figure. Your wife, Jill, you mentioned her and the impact she's had on your life, providing updates. I remember seeing them on social media, so many people praying for you. What did going through that battle, and in many ways, maybe still going through it in some ways, because we're all battling, like you said, but what did going through that battle do for your faith in the Lord, in Jesus, and just drawing closer to him going through it? Because sometimes our faith isn't truly our faith until we're tested, right?
Well, I've been tested over and over and over again, and I still am being tested. But you know what? You just got to keep the faith and keep that positive attitude. And I know sometimes that's really hard to do. I mean, my daughter right now, Erin, is going through Lyme disease. She was bit by a tick, and unfortunately, we didn't realize what it was until a year later. So she's battling that now, and with all the COVID stuff out there now, you just got to keep your faith and keep praying. And I do my quiet time every morning. And as my wife has taught me the better side of what to do and how to read and those things. So for me, you know what? As I said before, I saw all the things that, my life has brought to me, good and bad, a lot of bad. But you know what? I'm thankful that I have what I have. I have a beautiful family, 2 beautiful daughters. I got my son in heaven looking down on me, and a beautiful wife that is pretty much my pastor. I call her Pastor Jill. She helps me out in any questions I have, which I have a lot. I'm learning, and I don't speak Christianese. I speak from my heart, and sometimes that puts a lot of smiles on different people's faces. But I also have a men's fellowship. We have 20 guys that come to my house once a month, and we sit, we talk through the summer, we have fun. After it's over, we usually have them on Monday night during the season. And after fellowship, we watch Monday Night Football. So that's all pretty good. But you know what, Jason, I'm very blessed to be able to do that and to do so many things throughout the country as I travel and try to share with everybody my journey of what I went through and how to, soften the blow a little bit on a lot of things that are going on.
One more on that. I just want to follow up. You talked about that quiet time being so important for you. Why is that important? Because I think that's something that all of us who are just trying to learn and grow and stay connected to God. That morning time, I think, is so important. It is for me. Why has that been a really good discipline for you?
Well, because there's so many things going on in our world today. And I'm not really into politics, but everything in our country, all of the things that are happening, whether it's out west with the fires, whether it's in New York with the flooding or the hurricanes going on, the tornadoes. Every time you turn on the TV, there's so much negativity out there. And you got to be able to pull away from that and focus on what's most important. That's your family, that's the good Lord, and knowing that better days are ahead. And I'm one of those guys, I'm very optimistic. I'm very bad at having things stay in my, well, I should say I'm very good at when I have negative thoughts into my mind, I quickly try to refocus my attention. And what that does for me in the morning is I'm able to focus on the good things in life, what God has come for, the eternal life that I know that one day I will see my son again. And that definitely makes it so much better because we're only here for a certain amount of time. I'm ready for eternity. Maybe not right now, a lot of things to do, but I understand and I know where I'm going when the good Lord calls upon me to visit with my mom, my dad, and my son Hunter. So that early morning, just my day started out on the right note.
As we wind down here, you being a survivor advocate, you're teaming up with the cancer community and Merck as part of the Your Cancer Story initiative. Tell us about that.
Well, again, my story, Jason, there's so many chapters to it. That's why we are in the midst of doing a movie on mine and my wife's life, which is going to be a major motion picture, hopefully around 2024. But I teamed up with Merck on Your Cancer Story because I realized where I was at, I guess, number one, when my son Hunter was born. He was diagnosed with a fatal disease called Krabbe leukodystrophy, and we had no idea where to go. We never heard of it. We didn't know who to reach out to. And it took a while before we got the people around us to have us understand more about what was going on, what the disease was all about. And then you fast forward to my cancer. When I was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma, I never heard of it. My wife never heard of it. We had no idea where do we go, who do we talk to. None of that information in 2013 was out there. So as time went on, Merck approached me and they knew my story. They talked to me and we teamed up 3 years ago. And I'll tell you what a difference it has made, not only for me, but for so many people out there that reach out to us and talk to us because there's so many different things going on and people are not always in tune of what's going to be coming up in their life, in their world. And all of a sudden they're diagnosed with a certain type of cancer. Well, if they log on to yourcancerstory.com, those questions that you have, we will be able to answer or try to give you the right people to look towards, know more about what you're going through. So Merck, it was perfect timing because squamous cell, I had no idea. Now I do. Now so many other people out there. As you well know, Jason, with the head and neck cancer, nowadays there's so many people being diagnosed. So I think what Merck has done is unbelievable. And I'm so thankful that I teamed up with them because Your Cancer Story, and I have a story. And I hope that my story will make a difference for so many other people out there that are fighting to figure out what their next avenue is going to be.
Yeah, you're making an incredible difference. Again, it's yourcancerstory.com is the website, yourcancerstory.com. And we all have a story, whether we've gone through it directly ourselves or we know someone. Yourcancerstory.com can be a great resource for you. So make sure you go check it out. Yourcancerstory.com. My last question for you, Jim, age 61, when I saw that, first of all, and you look great, by the way, for 61 years old, when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be when people remember Jim Kelly, the person? Because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to talk about football and always identify you as a Pro Football Hall of Famer and a Buffalo Bills legend. But Jim Kelly, the person, now that you got however many years left to live, 20 years, we'll say 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah, right.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Probably, I've never given up on anything. Whether it was when we were going to those Super Bowls, or whether when I was at college and up for a Heisman Trophy with those dreams of taking care of mom and dad and make my five brothers proud of me. When they told me I would never play football again, but I never ever gave up. I always try to turn a negative into a positive, and I'm very good at making sure that all those things go through my mind. If they're negative, it gets put out real quick. And probably had never given up on anything, whether it was in my football career or whether it's with my family, my marriage, or of course in my cancer fight. Because I remember when my brother told me that they told him that I had less than a 10% chance of making it. I was stage 4, and I never knew that. But I knew that I was never going to give up, and surround yourself with good quality people. And I've been blessed my whole life to have great people around me. I'm so grateful to my family because they were right there beside me. So probably more than anything, never give up on anything, whether it's in your life or whether it's in your business or whether it's what you do each and every day.
We'll be continuing to send out prayers to you and your family, Jim. Yourcancerstory.com is the website. Thanks to Merck for providing today's interview. And we really appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for joining us. All the best to you. And let's see what Bills Mafia can do this year, my friend. Thanks for being here.
I love it. The last thing I got to say is, let's go, Buffalo. Take care, bud. Nice talking to you, Jace.
And that was Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly joining us here for our second edition of Sports Spectrum's Weekly Slant. We're so glad that you tuned into our show today, and we can't wait for you to continue to be a part of this show every single week, all the way through the NFL playoffs into late January. And this Sports Spectrum Weekly Slant show, as I said at the top, is a unique show because there isn't really one out there like it. When you look at sports, when you look at Jesus, when you look at football in the same conversation every single week. And we're so glad to be a part of this as you watch our show today, tonight, and throughout the week. Listen, this is on our Facebook channel, our YouTube channel, our website, sportspectrum.com. Wherever you're watching it, consider sharing this with someone else and showing them the type of content and the conversations that we have here at Sports Spectrum's Weekly Slant. And next week, we're going to have our friend Jade McCarthy from ESPN, formerly of ESPN. She was a Sports Center host and did a bunch of other things there at ESPN. Jade McCarthy is going to be hosting next week's show. And really throughout this season, having Brock Heward, having Jade McCarthy, and myself be able to bring to you this content, I am so excited about this team and about Sports Spectrum's Weekly Slant. Again, remember the magazine. You should subscribe because you can get 20% off right now for a 1-year or 2-year subscription. Check out sportspectrum.com. Put in the code SLANT20, SLANT20, when you go in and subscribe to Sports Spectrum's magazine right there at sportspectrum.com, and you get the 20% off discount that is unique and tailored only for you watching this show right now. It's a deal you can only get here. So subscribe today at sportspectrum.com. Tune in next week. It's going to be a great show. We don't even know who our guest is going to be. We're going to watch the games this weekend, and then we're going to react to them, and we're going to bring to you a guest from either the world of college football or NFL next week on Sports Spectrum's Weekly Slant. We got a great slate of games coming up this weekend, particularly in the NFL, where we have Washington and the Giants playing on Thursday night. We have Dallas and the Chargers on Sunday. We have the Dolphins and the Bills. We got a great slate of games. We cannot wait to see what happens in football this weekend. And we can't wait to have you join us next time right here on Sports Spectrum's Weekly Slant. We love you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and see you next time right here on Sports Spectrum's Weekly Slant.